Hello, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make videos for NBA DFS content, prize picks content. All these videos, they go on the subreddit. I make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day because a lot of stuff does change from these videos. You could ask me questions about the slate, pretty much anything you need. I will have this link down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right there. So let's get to my lineups from tonight. I had a couple lineups tonight. It was basically a break-even day for me. I had 3 lineups tonight. This was one. I had another one as well, but it did not cash. This lineup did good enough to make it a break-even day. So my core today was Cade Cunningham. I thought he was one of the best plays on the slate, especially once Marcus Sasser got rolled out. So I made it a priority to get to him. He was my flag plant today in GPPs. I give a flag plant every day in GPPs. Came in a bit higher owned than I wanted, but yeah. And then Grant Williams was a core play. He was the best value play on the slate. And then Zion, CJ were both core plays as well. So it was a really, really solid core. I told everyone Trendon Watford was probably your most optimal value play on the slate. So I did end up playing him as well. So yeah, break-even day for me. We had some nice nights in Discord. And Jaren Jackson Jr., I had some Jaren lineups. This one did not cash, but he was a really, really solid play. Only 5% owned, but had Cam Thomas, unfortunately, in this lineup and Scoot instead of Ben. So yeah, hopefully you guys had a good night tonight. And let's get into the slate. So, I mean, looking at the spend ups on the slate, I mean, it's phenomenal. You have Jokic up against the Spurs, possibly with no Jamal Murray. You have Giannis with no Dame going up against Washington. You have AD in a good spot. You have LeBron in a good spot. There are a ton of really solid spend ups on this slate. If I had to rank them, I don't even know if I can rank them. I would just say Jokic and Giannis are 1A, 1B for me. I'm probably going to be going out of my way to at least play one of Jokic or Giannis tomorrow. That is, both are phenomenal plays, in my opinion. But like, you have AD, you have LeBron, I think looks good. You have Wemby, who's been absolutely incredible. It's wild. It's wild. So yeah, I think both the top 2 guys here for the Lakers look pretty good. Phenomenal matchup here going up against Toronto. The only risk you have here is potential blowout, but you know, they are playing away, which helps a little bit. AD, good shot blocker. Going to get you a double-double, good score, going to play big minutes. Some games he's playing the entire second half, right? Very high floor, very high ceiling. He's a really solid spend up. LeBron, he's been on a tear of late, had a massive game last game. He should also play big minutes. They need to win games right now, stuffing the stat sheet. I think he looks like a good spend up. Reeves, D'Lo, they're more priced right for me. Rui, he's been playing extremely well of late. I think he's priced right. If you want to go there, it's fine. I personally probably won't be going there at that price point, but he is firmly in play. I don't know if I get to the value here, though. I think some other value will open up later. Moving on to Toronto. So we're going to get quickly an RJ Barrett back. Now, they've been out for a while. We'll see if their conditioning is good enough to be full go. So I'm going to go under the assumption that they are full go right now. Going over this, obviously, if we get news that they're on a limit, don't play them. Starting lineup with them both back should be Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Kelly Olynyk, Grady Dick, and JFL possibly. So there's a number of ways they could go. But we'll see. This is the early game. But phenomenal matchup. If they're both full go, no limitations. I mean, we saw what they were doing before when they were both playing, right? Now you have a really good spot going up against Lakers. Quickly before was their highest usage player, and then RJ Barrett did overtake Quickly at the end before he took his little break here. But I like the ceiling on both. I do prefer Quickly to RJ Barrett straight up. I'm intrigued what their ownership is going to be like tomorrow. If we get news that they're not on a limit, right? But I'm definitely intrigued by both of them, especially Emmanuel Quickly in this matchup going up against the Lakers. So intrigued by both the top 2 guys here. Kelly Olynyk with both back, probably priced right. I don't know if I touch the value. Like if they continue to start Grady Dick, sure you can go there. It's a playable value. If JFL continues to start, sure you can go there. But he's going to lose a ton of usage with both those guys back. He'll be very low usage. Probably going to see a bit of Nwora still in play. And I think that's it. Main interest here is definitely Quickly RJ Barrett. Moving on to the Bucks. Damian Lillard out. Giannis Antetokounmpo up at the top with no Dame looks absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love Giannis. If you think this game does stay competitive, Washington is playing without Kyle Kuzma and Tyus Jones, though it's one thing to note, but should play close to 40 minutes. Phenomenal match going up against Washington. He is going to do a lot more ball handling with Damian Lillard out of the lineup, so he legit has triple-double upside with Dame out of the lineup. I think he looks phenomenal. I think Chris Middleton is still too cheap at 7.1K. I really like him. Bobby Portis just there for me. Brook Lopez at 5.4K, solid going up against Washington. Has the ceiling, been a bit bad of late, but should still play over 30 minutes. I don't mind it. More of like a filler play for me. Beasley's minutes should be a bit more secure with no Damian Lillard. It's just up to if he hits his shots or not. Last game he did not, but still does have a ceiling. I would say he's more priced right. And then Pat Bev started last game. If he starts again, I really, really like him for value. We know Pat Bev's a guy that's going to do it all. He's a stat sheet stuffer. Played big minutes. I was absolutely shocked by the minutes he played last game. He's dealing with a torn wrist, but he looked fine out there. So if he starts again, which I would expect him to, he looks great for value of 4.5K. Guys like Pat Connaughton, Jay Crowder are in play, but I'd much rather just get up to Pat Bev. But yeah, I think there's a ton to like here for the Bucks. Moving on to Washington, keep an eye on the Jared Butler news. Keep an eye on Richaun Holmes as well. If they're both in, I think, if you think this game stays competitive, it's going to be a pretty big game from like Corey Kispert, Jordan Poole. And if you are playing for a competitive game, I think both are really solid plays. Good matchup here for Jordan Poole. Should play big minutes. He's going to be their go-to guy right now. Denny's fine, but I prefer Poole point per dollar. Kispert, he's flashed the ceiling, especially when he's hitting shots. He's playing 40 minutes a night. I'd like him at 5.6K. Bagley, if Holmes is out, I think is solid. Would prefer Holmes out. If Holmes is in, definitely a downgrade. And then Jared Butler should play around 20 minutes. I think he's a decent value. Baldwin started last game. He's solid as well. Shot the ball. He shot like 0 of 100. Yeah, 0 of 8. Just absolutely wild. Got benched too. Now, Butler's out. Jordan Poole might have to play the entire game. Or they could dust off like Shampenny, I guess. But if Butler's out, it's definitely going to be a bump to Jordan Poole. I already like Poole. But yeah, there's a good amount to like in this game for sure. Moving on to the OKC Thunder, SGA, Jalen Williams are both questionable if they're both in. I think SGA is an okay spend up. Definitely my least favorite of the grouping that we went over. Jalen Williams, everyone else would just be priced right, in my opinion, with SGA back, so I probably won't be going to any of these guys if they are both in. Lou Dort is a fair, okay value. I'm sure better value will open up. Now, if they're both out, a lot of stuff changes here, though. I would assume starting lineup would be like Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Chet Holmgren, Gordon Hayward, one of Case Wallace, Isaiah Joe would be my guess. And you'll see a lot more run, or potentially more run for a guy like Kenrich Williams, and the bench value, Joe, all those guys. So if they're both out, I mean, it's hard not to like these guys. Josh Giddey would be their go-to guy. Offensively, he'd be stuffing the stat sheet. He would have to play decent minutes. I would really, really like Josh Giddey at 6.6K. Lou Dort would be a good value. If Gordon Hayward starts, he'd be a really solid value. If they start Wiggins, he'd be a decent value, and Joe would still be solid off the bench. Casey Wallace is going to have to get more run. And then Kenrich Williams at 3.1K, I'll have to play more. He'd be in play. Trying to forget what I said. The lineup probably would be Giddey, Holmgren, Dort, Hayward, and then one of Case and Wallace, Joe, or one of Case and Wallace, Aaron Wiggins. That's what I said, right? If I didn't say that, that's what it should be. And then you'll get more run for Kenrich Williams. But yeah, keep an eye on that news. Could open up a lot of value there for OKC. Moving on to the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey is questionable. If he's in, I like Tyrese Maxey up at the top at 8.6K. Everyone else would just be priced right for me. I don't think I'd be getting too much else here. If he's out, we know what to do. Then Tobias Harris looks really, really solid. Kelly Oubre would be a phenomenal play in the mid-range. Would love him. Kyle Lowry would be decent. Cam Payne would be a really, really good value at 4.2K. Would really like him. Buddy Hield would be in play at 4.6K. And then I think that's it. But another team where there could potentially be a lot to like here. A lot of injury news up in the air for tomorrow. Moving on to the Knicks. Tough matchup here going up against Miami. I don't think I'm running out of my way to roster really anyone here. Brunson at 9.2K is okay, but I rank him under the top spend ups. Josh Hart, Dante, I guess are fine just because the amount of minutes they're playing right now. They have a high floor with the ceiling, so I don't mind them. Josh Hart played 45 minutes again. Miles McBride played 46 minutes. Like, yeah, I think they're all solid plays, just the amount of minutes they're playing, just a really tough matchup. I think Hart and Dante are my favorites on this Knicks team. I prefer them to Brunson, point per dollar. I think they're decent, solely because of the amount of minutes they're playing. And Miami does give up a decent amount of three-point shootings. Like, maybe I give the edge to Dante over a guy like Josh Hart, but I think they're both decent plays. And then Miles McBride is fine as well. He's a guy that's going to shoot a ton of threes too. So if I'm targeting anyone going up against Miami, it's going to be guys that are going to be volume shooters that are going to shoot a decent amount of three-point shots, right? That's the best way to target Miami. Moving on to Miami, we have Rozier probable, we have Duncan Robinson probable. Everyone's basically probable, so we're going to have everyone healthy here. Tough matchup going up against the Knicks. I don't like much here with the fully healthy team. Bam, Butler, they're just darts for me at those price points. Rozier is priced right. Duncan's priced right. Jamie, no thank you. Caleb, no thank you. Jovic, basically only going to play around 20 minutes. Not going to be productive when he's out there. I know he had a huge game this game, but that's definitely an outlier. So this Miami team doesn't look too appealing to me. Pretty gross. Moving on to Houston, absolute treacherous matchup here going up against Minnesota. We do have Cam Whitmore back, so that's going to make the minutes for guys like Amen Thompson, Dylan Brooks a bit more in question. Even then, I'm not going out of my way to play either. Tough matchup, more in question with the minutes. I'll probably look elsewhere. Jabari Smith at 6.4K. I mean, this could be a spot where they kind of need to play bigger with a guy like, I don't know, Jock Landale. So, like, I'd be a little bit careful there going up against Minnesota. But if he gets the minutes, we know he has high ceilings. Like, fine in GPPs. If you think they go with like a Jock Landale because of Minnesota's size, you could look to him for value at 4.6K. And then Fred, Jalen, playable in the mid-range, but don't love it. Don't love it. Moving on to Minnesota, Cat obviously is out. Anthony Edwards at 9.4. I think it's a good spend up. Just this game's going to be played slow. Two tough matchups going up against each other. It's like, I'm good with him. I think he's solid. Definitely one of my more favorites in that like 9K range that we went over. Rudy Gobert is just very safe, right? He's going to play 40 minutes. He's a good shot blocker. He's going to get you a double-double. Very safe floor with the ceiling. So I do like Rudy Gobert at 7.6K. Nas is fine, but I prefer Gobert. Mike Conley had a massive game last game. That's definitely an outlet back-to-back games. That's absolutely wild. I think he's more priced right for me. McDaniels is playable. I feel like more value will open up, though. All the value that we already talked about will be better. And then now we get to Cleveland. I mean, this team's just an absolute mess. They look uninterested. They don't want to be out there. I don't know what's going on. Donovan Mitchell, I mean, the contract stuff, his injury, he just looks completely uninterested. Darius Garland, I believe, is having some personal stuff, I think, going on. They're fully healthy, but it's a phenomenal spot going up against Utah. I mean, if everyone's scared to play these guys because, you know, how they've been looking, how disinterested they've been in, then sure, you can fire up Donovan Mitchell at 9K. Like, assuming he looks interested, assuming he's full go, assuming his knee's fine. I believe it's his knee, right? So, like, I'm intrigued by Donovan Mitchell here in a phenomenal matchup at 9K. Evan Mobley, last game played 30 minutes. I think if he continues to get over 30 minutes, he's a solid play at 6.9K. Garland's more priced right. Same with Jared Allen. I think my favorite plays here is Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley that I'm interested in GPPs. I don't think anyone's going to play him. It's a really good spot going up against Utah. I'm intrigued, but I'm scared. I'm serious. If you guys watched that last Cleveland game, they just don't look interested at all. Strus at 5.5, fine. Okoro's out as well. And I think that's it. Let's move on to Utah. So, tough matchup here going up against Cleveland, but I think we have to consider some guys here. Clarkson, Collins, Markkanen out. You're going to get a starting lineup of Sexton, Keontae George, Hendricks, Walker Kessler, Bryce Sensabaugh. You're going to get Chris Dunn, Micah Potter, Johnny Juzang, and Omer Yurtseven rounding out the rotation. With that being said, I know it's a really bad matchup, but Walker Kessler at 4.7K started last game, played over 30 minutes. We know he's over a fantasy point per minute guy, a guy that can get you a double-double, a guy that's a good shot blocker, can rack up stocks. I really like him for value of 4.7K. Chris Dunn is firmly in play. He should get a bit more run. Another good point per minute guy that's a stat sheet stuffer. You should get Omer Yurtseven getting the backup 5. I actually think he's in play for large field tournaments. And then Micah Potter will get run. I prefer Omer Yurtseven. Juzang, I think I prefer Dunn. And then I think the main guys look decent. Sexton, Keontae. Hendricks, Bryce, they're playable as well. All right, last game here, guys. Let's cruise right through this. And who's ready? There's going to be so much value on this slate. I don't know what to do. But yeah, main guys out once again. You're going to get a starting lineup of Victor Wembanyama, Trey Jones, Champagnie, Branham, Chetty. So with that being said, I think Branham, Chetty both look like really, really good values. Champagnie is a solid value as well. Trey Jones is going to have to get a usage bump. He looks really solid. Victor Wembanyama is a really good spend up. You're going to get Graham in the rotation. One thing I do want to know is Sandro Mamukelashvili. He played alongside Wemby, and he also played alongside Zach Collins. If I knew he got 25 minutes again, I would love him at 3.6K. So like ownership's going to tell apart in what I want to do with Sandro Mamukelashvili tomorrow. But I am saying if I knew he got similar run to what he got last game, I would probably play him just because he's a really good point per minute guy. Then, like I said, Chetty, Branham, Champagnie all look very good. Trey Jones is solid. Victor Wembanyama is solid. Then you're going to get like Graham, Wesley rounding out the rotation. Phenomenal matchup here for Denver. I love Jokic. Already went over it. He looks phenomenal. Jamal Murray, I think, is a really good play. Assuming he plays, he's not on some type of limit. MPJ, Aaron Gordon would both be priced right. If Jamal Murray's in, I don't think I get too much value. If Jamal Murray's out, love Jokic. MPJ, Aaron Gordon are playable. Reggie Jackson also decent. And then we're going to have so much better value. I don't know if I touched the value here. So hopefully you guys had a great night tonight, and I will talk to you all in the next video.